There was a time where my hair was like breaking off, which is why I kept going shorter. My cheek is on the disgusting bathroom floor. I felt my heart racing. I could hear it in my ears. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, am I going to pass out? What's happening? I was like, I'm going to cut someone.
Yes.
And my husband goes, what?
Hey, congratulations.
Thank
For
you.
everybody, we are talking
Thank
today
you.
about Tamsin's book, How to Menopause. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
You did such an incredible, which is not a shock because you're such a pro.
Ooh, you're kind.
No, I'm honest.
I had fun with it though. You know, like I spent so many years being a journalist. I was like, oh, it's research. And that's really, you know, I had a good time. I had a good time writing it.
So what wasn't probably a good time
Yeah.
was November 19th, 2019.
That was not good.
That was not good. Tell us about the moment that really changed everything for you. Like, walk us through who you were, what was happening in your life, and what happened at that fateful day.
Yeah. I mean, I was clipping along pretty good. You know, life was good. I was in a new relationship. I was worked the evening news for years.
How long were you a journalist for?
I'm trying to think. I think again, it was like, I was a journalist for like 25 years, but I think in New York about 15 or 16 years. So a long time.
Yes.
It might even be longer than that. Maybe 20 in New York, but 25 overall. So that was my career. That's what I knew. Go in, and that's how we met. I was working at CBS in New York City, and that's what I was doing when I first came here. So I had started doing the evening news, where I basically, put New Yorkers to sleep every night. And I was sitting there between commercial break this night around 10:30, and all of a sudden I got this feeling. And if you know this feeling, you just know the feeling that it comes from inside, and all of a sudden everything is like sweat. Head, underarm, boob sweat everywhere. And I felt my heart racing. I could hear it in my ears. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, am I going to pass out? What's happening? I said, if I fall over, somebody catch me, because we were on kind of high stools in the news studio. And the sports guy goes, hey, maybe you should get off the set and just like sit this one out. And so he walked me off the set, and I went to the ladies' room, and I just literally just hit the floor, and everything cool. I needed my body to touch everything. My face, my cheek is on the disgusting bathroom floor. And I thought, what is going on? And I never forget the two, like my producer and the sports guy are like peeking through the door. Are you okay? And I go, yeah, I'm good. My dress is all high. It was just awful. And I got up 20 minutes later, fine, go home. And then, that next week I thought like something's happening. Like, is it blood? I don't know what's going on with me. And I went to talked to my therapist about what had happened, and she's like, you're really anxious. You've gone through all this stuff. Maybe Lexapro. So I started that, and I'm like, I'm not really an anxious person. Like, I'm hyper, but I'm not really anxious. And I did blood work eventually, and I got a note in my patient portal that said, "In menopause, any questions?" That was it.
So helpful. ... In menopause. Any questions?
Like, let me know if you need anything.
Okay. How old were you at this time?
So I was 19. I was 48 years old.
Okay.
At that
So you're
time.
48 years old. You had this.
Yeah.
Like, were you freaking out when that happened?
Oh,
like,
yes.
What the is going on with me?
Well, I thought, am I having a heart attack?
Yes.
I didn't know. I did everything like in my head. I'm like, oh my God. And what was leading up to that, and what had happened a little earlier that evening was, and it had happened a couple different times, but I'd look at a word. So I'd look at some word, like how, and I'd be like, I'll just skip it. It wouldn't
like
come out
in
of
the
my
teleprompter,
mouth.
you would
see
see
in the
it.
teleprompter, I'd look at it, and I couldn't do recall. Like, I couldn't recall how to even say the word, but I knew I recognized it. And that had been happening. And I'm like, it's stress, it's stress, it's stress, everything's stress. But I looked back, periods were erratic and crazy, out of control. Every sign that this is what was going on was there, but I didn't know those were those signs.
Okay. I have this question for you, because this is really important. I think that we all discuss, and I've been trying to tell every person that I can who's like in their 20s, in their 30s, because I started experiencing crazy shit. And I would talk to Josh about it. And and I love Josh. We just celebrated, we were talking like, we just celebrated 22 years together, but he's also a man. You know what I mean? And he doesn't know. So he's like, babe, you're stressed. You're just so stressed. You're so stressed. And again, not really the most zen person in the world. So on some level,
which is how we connected so long ago.
Exactly. I was like, well, okay, that makes sense. Maybe he's right. And I know he loves me. So he wasn't trying to belittle.
No.
But I'm curious, when did you start, and did you ever start having this internal monologue, which was my hint? I don't feel like myself.
that is like the syndrome. It's a thing.
Yeah. Like, I don't feel like myself. Like,
I don't feel
what's
like
going
myself.
on? I don't feel like myself.
Yep.
I don't feel like myself. And that was the conversation I would have mostly with Josh. And he's like, but you always say that. I'm like, no, I don't. Like,
it's a different, I don't, the other thing is like, oh, these are the other words. I feel stressed. I got a lot going on. I don't feel like myself. I've never said that before. And I did have that internal dialogue.
How long though? How long before the November 19th, 2019? I'm just curious to hear.
Well, I went through my divorce, and I went through a divorce in my early 40s. And so everything that was going on for those years, I attributed to that.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, my hair's falling out, like it's thinning. Like there was a time where my hair was like breaking off, which is why I kept going shorter and thinning, which is for me, I'm Italian and Lebanese, like, or my hair doesn't thin.
Totally.
I can't get rid of it. It's everywhere. And so, so that was happening. And I'm like, it's the divorce. It's a this, it's that. But where I knew I wasn't feeling like myself is that I was getting up on the anchor desk, and it was probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 years before. And I wasn't confident. I was nervous every time I got up there. And I would be like, oh, thank God this show's done, because I didn't want to have a conversation like this where I wasn't prepared for the next sentence. Like I couldn't trust that I could complete that conversation.
Yes.
That's when I didn't feel like myself.
Yes.
Because that's what I know how to do.
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to say that because if anyone listening or watching right now, and the vast majority of our audience identifies as women, but if it's a guy, we love our men. We love everybody. Everybody's got a great heart. You're welcome here. But if any woman in your life or person in your life starts saying those words, right? Like if someone you love is saying, I don't feel like myself, what's wrong? There's something wrong with me. I don't feel like myself. And there's nothing ostensibly wrong. It's like, pay attention and validate them. Because the most frustrating thing in the world for me was, and again, honestly, I obviously love Josh so much, but he was like, you always say that. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, talk about rage. Talk about rage.
Another thing though, I didn't have rage.
Neither did I.
I can have a temper if if you get me fired up.
Yes.
But I didn't have that click.
No.
Yeah. It's different.
It's murderous. I'm like, if people don't watch out right now, like, I could cut a bitch. It's like, it's crazy.
I said that I was like, I'm going to cut someone.
Yes.
And my husband goes,
what?
Did you just say?
I know. And obviously we would never do that.
Okay.
But
we're not going to do that.
We're being honest about the thoughts that run around in our head that feel very, very, very unlike us.
But those are real thoughts, and women have felt that and don't know what to do with that. And I think that's where men and or anybody else come into the conversation. And I've really watched this as the conversation has started to progress a little bit, is that I am seeing husbands or boyfriends or partners or brothers or, say like, how can I support? Which I can't wait to hear more of that. Oh, because I think it's a really big deal.
It's a really big deal. And I will say this too, because again, I'm speaking from my own experience. Josh was always also trying to support me, but didn't know how.
Exactly right.
And I didn't understand what was happening inside my own body. So there's 2 places I want to go. First, I want to go to all the money I wasted on a bunch of tests that told me And then I want to go to a huge thank you for your documentary, which I want to talk more about because Josh and I watched that together, and it felt like that was a clicking point for him. Yeah. Because I was like, look, I can tell you all this. And we all know this with our partners. Yeah. You can talk with your partner until they're blue in the face, but they have to hear something from someone else or watch it or see a book or what. That's the only way we all do that.
Make sure that it's correct.
That's right. That's right. So first though, I think it was probably in my late 30s when I started just really doing a deeper dive on my health. And it was more honestly from a perspective of, me, I'm like, I want to optimize. I want like longevity. Course. I want to be the best. It's like my type A overachiever to the next level, right? Many of us can identify with that. So anywho, I just kept hearing, okay, your hormones are great. Your hormones are great. And because I'd never really had an education on that, I just took everyone at face value, and it's all normal. It's all normal. And I was like, okay, it's all normal. And some of my first signs that was not right. I'm Italian American. All of a sudden, gastro issues, including out of nowhere, it was like, are you celiac? I'm like, are you kidding me? I've been
Not
eating
even
pasta
possible, right?
and bread my entire life. Like,
Isn't it unbelievable?
Yes. And I didn't know that changes in our microbiome. I did not know that gastro issues, all this stuff. I'm like, what is going on? And
where your stomach is like, you eat and it goes like this. And, and pain.
Yes.
I know. I never had it either. We had pizza Friday nights. Every Friday night, my father made homemade pizza. Now I'm like, it will twist me into a pretzel, honestly, to have that.
Yes. So again, I want to say these things out loud. So for all of our listeners, if you happen to be a little pre the stage that we're talking about, and you're just stuff's going on with your body and your emotions, and you're like, what is happening to me? You need to pick up a book like How to Menopause, because it's going to help you. It could honestly save your sanity in your life. And I do not, that is not an overstatement.
Thank you. And your time and your money too.
Yes.
Because that's what I think is so important.
Let's talk about those tests.
Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting? I actually just did a screening last night of the documentary, and one of the questions that kept coming up, because we do a Q&A afterwards, and it was a virtual screening, and it was about hormones, because we do like different ones, and this one kept coming up about asking about tests. And here's the issue: when you're in perimenopause and you're in this time frame and you're looking for hormone tests, your hormones are all over the place.
Yes.
So today it could look one thing, in 2-3 weeks it could look like something else. And I wanted to make sure that we were right about it, because there are a lot of tests that are being offered out there. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't do blood work and see where you are. And I have very low vitamin D. They always are checking that. Right now, where I'm a postmenopausal, which I just say menopause, cholesterol levels have changed. Like, I never had high cholesterol. Now my cholesterol's changed. I'm like, what? You must have my tests mixed up with somebody. So tests are important for some different markers, but perimenopause, the symptoms, what we're talking about, are the ones to look at. And that really is how most doctors will diagnose that. It will not be because of a blood test. Yes. And that comes from doctors.
Absolutely. And I want to say this, and I want to also go back to the cholesterol thing, because I've gone through this little journey too. So one of the learnings that I've made, which was really helpful for me, and for all this time, literally for years, it was like, oh, you have to have your hormones balanced. That's some bullshit. There is no such thing.
Nope.
There is no such thing. So everyone, possibly, again, Dance and I are saying that's like great. We've talked about health and optimizing health a lot on this show. I am all for those tests, all for all the things. But when it comes to hormones specifically, it is based on symptoms.
Yes.
You know, and this was interesting. So I started working with a new hormone doctor. I think it was maybe October of last year of 24.
Right.
And one of the things I loved that she said to me, she's like, hey, Marie, I'm looking at your numbers, because she wanted to know, but I knew it was bullshit. And she wasn't telling me that like we're going to base anything. So like, I'm just curious to see what's what. So that as we possibly try different things, we can start to understand how you feel best and just look at everything, little dashboard. And I loved that she said to me, because she's like, so your estrogen looks like X, Y, or Z. It's like actually really high. She's like, but that's not necessarily how you feel best. And I was like, it was such a light bulb moment for me. And especially too, because years earlier, and this is no surprise, that it was like, you know, some folks would say like, wow, your testosterone's really high. I'm like, yeah.
I know.
I'm like, that's me. You know, like, I don't see a problem.
It's always been.
Like, that's just who I am.
Right.
So, but it was really such a helpful frame.
It is a great frame.
Do you know what I mean?
It is a great frame.
So that none of us are looking. And then this was another insight, and I don't know if you've come across this too, where it was like, hey, sometimes all of these averages, whether it's around cholesterol, whether it's around hormones, they can be so skewed towards people that are unwell that the whole entire norms and averages are completely shit and off. You're like, you don't want to base yourself on that.
And I do have to say, most of those tests have been done on men for a very long time. So like, please be aware. And that's what we're fighting for constantly, is the fact that this research, we need research on women, and especially women at this age. I want to go back to what you were saying about in your 20s or 30s, because it's never too early to start looking for some of this stuff. You know, menopause, perimenopause, that time frame can be up to 10 years of some of this fluctuation. Not meaning that you're going to be miserable for 10 years, but awareness is really important. I wish that there were a baseline at 35 years old where, you know, you say like, hey, start looking for some of these symptoms, because there's a list of 30 plus symptoms.
Yes.
Any of these, just kind of keep an eye on and let me know if you're seeing them next time you come in, or if you're seeing too many, make an appointment. Because I think that that's where we miss we miss that for women. We know to do that when it comes to mammograms. We know to do that when it comes to colonoscopies. We have all these baseline numbers when we should be doing these kind of tests, but with something that hopefully, if you're lucky enough to go through,
yes,
how have we not mention that to women
I know.
when we're sitting in there, and and so that part of it past the reproductive years just kind of falls off the timeline.
Yes.
And that's what we have to fight for.
I think that's such a great idea. Like imagine in your early 30s, there's like that 34 or 36 symptoms. It's like,
here,
just have a peek at this.
Just see
any of this starts happening, and you start having that conversation in your head, like, I don't feel like myself. I kind of feel weird.
When you hear those words,
like,
really,
yes, pay attention. Because I feel like I suffered for so long, and I thought I was going bonkers shit's crazy. Like so many different things through my mind. And let me tell you this. This was one of the most fun things for me. Oh, when I got my first little estradiol patch, my little film.
Yes.
I couldn't believe it. I thought it was
how you were different, how you felt.
OMG.
I know.
One day I went from going like, am I going to wind up in an orange jumpsuit because I've murdered someone to like, holy shit, Marie's back. Oh my God. I like myself again. Like what happened?
I love you again. I know.
I know that doesn't happen for everyone. But
it doesn't.
That was my experience.
But I absolutely believe it. I mean, it is. I think it's a lot of things too. And this is what I really believe. I really believe that if you are aware of what's going on when you go into this, and you don't feel so confused, and you don't feel so alone, and you feel like you're taking charge of your body because you have knowledge, it's so much better.
Yes.
And if you can't do that, which a lot of women have not been able to because we didn't even know what to look for, that's when you're like kind of in the dark trying to figure out what's happening and feel embarrassed because you don't even know how to explain it, except I don't feel like myself.
And I will say this because we do have a lot of type A overachiever type humans. That can be also extremely, I at least felt weak.
Of course, I feel anger
about
myself.
Yes. And it's like, what's wrong with me? I can't hack it anymore. And then you have the absolute avalanche of really wonderful thoughts. You're over the hill. You've peaked. It's all going downhill right?
Best years are behind me.
Yes.
You wish I was who I was back then.
Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting. I really actually love that you say that. So I went, I think it was like in 2018, maybe, or 2017, I guess. And I started coming up against this phrase, now what? I kept going like, now what? I don't know. Like, are we like, what is next? Like, I couldn't figure it out. And I was having that feeling of like, my best years are behind me.
Yes.
What is the second chapter? Is there like, what is that? And I just was hitting this wall constantly thinking like, wow, this is age. Like, this is it. This is what they all warned me about. They all said it was coming. But what I didn't
I didn't believe them.
I didn't believe it. I never thought I'd get here.
Yes.
And, but the truth is it wasn't. It was that my body was like completely changing. My periods were, I was doing the news and I would stuff a tampon because at that time, like, I didn't want to be seen carrying it around. Now I'm like, but I stuffed it in my cleavage to run to the bathroom in between commercial breaks to like go and change really fast because my period was out of control, but no one said like, hey, that could be perimenopause. And again, I was like, oh, it's stress.
Yes.
It's stress again.
Don't you love how, again, I'm the first one. It's like, it must be my fault.
It's me. I caused this.
I caused this. Yep. I'm doing this.
Yep.
I'm the bad one,
I'm the
stupid
problem.
one. I'm the problem.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
My yoga teacher, this was another one for me that was so fun.
I love all your fun stuff.
I have so many fun things. This is why I love having this conversation because we've known each other so long too. So a big part of my life is also physicality in terms of I dance, I work out, I move. And I think this was probably about a year ago or so. And I started feeling like creaks and aches or pains, right? And I was like, what the hell? Like, just, and I'm the girl, I'm from Jersey. Like, I've been at Gold's Gym my whole life.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Love Gold's Gym.
I am like, get me in there with the dirty, grimy, gritty.
I want to be in the weight room.
Yes.
Yep.
I am throwing up weights. I'm psyched about it. Thank God somebody pulled me out of a tanning salon, 20 years, or else I'd still be in there. You know what I mean? I'd be a raisin, but I'd be tan.
You'd be tan.
And my French manicures, I got the pictures to prove it. Anywho, working out, and I'm just like, what? And feeling stuff in my body that I never felt. And actually one day in Sag Harbor, I was, my yoga teachers, Rodney and Colleen Zaid-Minier, I was in Rodney's class and I looked at him and he always like, who's got requests? And I speak up. No one in yoga class, they just like, they're all silent. And I'm like, hamstrings, you know what I mean? Like lower back, whatever. And I say, hey, Rod, I got stuff going on. He's like, what are you talking about? You never have stuff going on because I've been practicing so long. And I was like, I don't know. It's a little scary. He looked at me and he said, Marie, it's chemistry. And it was such a gift.
Wow.
Because in one sentence, him just saying it's chemistry. And they say, wait, how old are you again? Because we hang out with friends. And I told him, and he was like, it's chemistry. He's like, stop being so hard on yourself.
Wow.
And
isn't that awareness nice though of somebody?
It was so good. But that made me dial up. I was like, I need to get on this hormone doctor shit immediately. Yep. And I will say the second that I got my cute little patch on,
I can't wait till we find something that takes the glue off. That's my only problem.
Yeah. What are you using right now?
I use olive oil, or I use like
coconut. Coconut
me too.
Oil.
Yeah. I don't even want it on there.
I don't want it.
I want it to not be like that big mess of it.
Like the dark
day 3.5.
I know. I'm terrible. I go in with my little nails.
I do too.
We'll figure that out. This is going to be our new business. Okay. Back to aches and pains though.
Yeah.
That was another benefit of, for me, the aches and pains. Instantly, bye-byes.
The real, with the patch?
Yes.
100%. Have you had frozen shoulder?
No.
Oh,
I know. Can I skip that one?
Well, should I just not?
No, tell us.
It's to here. That's how high I can reach.
Wow.
That's it. That's the difference. Now, I've been in PT for it. Because I'm a yoga nut. So my child's pose is like this, and then this one comes to here. But those are the aches and pains that are like real stuff that happens. So when we say joint pain or, clicking of the knees or a hip pain, like all that's joint. And, one of the big problems is when you start losing estrogen and losing these hormones, you start looking at things like osteoporosis long-term, brain health long-term, cardiovascular health long-term. So those are the reasons to be aware of this too, not just because hot flashes are inconvenient.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about long-term health ramifications.
Absolutely.
And that's where I get sad when people have missed this conversation with their doctor or not felt, empowered to have the conversation or don't know what to ask. So that was really the reason for the book, the reason for the doc, is so that not only women know, but people who love women know, so they just have an awareness of those symptoms.
Yeah, it's serious stuff.
It is serious stuff. It's serious long-term stuff that you want to handle.
It's serious long-term stuff. And I feel bad. We were talking about my mom, before we started recording, and, there's a gajillion things that could happen. I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on the internet, but I absolutely believe that this is a piece of it too.
I believe that.
So one more thing I wanted to mention on the cardiovascular side, because I think that this is really important and it's somewhat new. I don't know if you've gone down this path yet, but so my cholesterol is high and I eat really clean, eat really good. I did something called the Clearly test. Have you done that?
I haven't done the Clearly test. No, what is that?
So for everyone, it's stupid expensive right now.
Okay.
But like everything in our world, I feel like we're at least coming into an age where technology is helping things become more accessible
100%.
faster. So anywho, though, everyone was kind of miffed. I'm like, you eat really good, you exercise and work out, but these two cholesterol markers, those were the only things that were kind of not good. And so they're like, we got to check this. So the Clearly is one of these somewhat new tests where they can go in and absolutely know without a shadow of a doubt what's happening in your heart to see if there is any blockage. So it's past the calcium test.
Right.
And it goes a deeper level. And my score came back 0. And so when I talked to, they were like, you're actually part of a new cohort of people that we've never seen before that are extremely healthy, eating clean, doing the lifestyle stuff. And then when we actually look inside their heart, there's no blockage. So it's kind of rewriting.
Yeah,
and again, what we've all been taught to understand and believe. So I just want to also say that out loud.
I like that. I'd like to look into that.
Yes, I'll share after off camera, but I want to say that out loud because once you start going down these rabbit holes of understanding your data and understanding your numbers, if you're in this world where you're already stressed, you have more anxiety, there's tons of shit going on and they're like, oh, now I got to work. Like, you know what I mean? Now I'm going to die of a heart attack too. It may not be so. I just wanted to say that there is just some nuances developing that we should know about.
I love that. We should know about them. And I think there's going to be more as we go along, because I think people are demanding more.
Yes.
I think once we have more women in a lot of these tests, especially with regard to age,
Yes.
I think we're going to see different things. Right now we're measured with, a lot of different kind of numbers and tests and data. And I mean, women weren't even required to be in these tests until like midnight. Can you imagine? Like that's crazy.
It is crazy.
So when I realized that, that's kind of what dove me right into this, like head first. And I went, oh, I just can't stop. And I kept uncovering stuff where I'm like, how is this possible in 2025? Like, how are we even still confused?
So the book is so powerful. I love how relatable it is. One of the things that I really responded to in here, I think you and I share a lot of like emotional, spiritual DNA on this, Mark, is it seems like you get a lot of pleasure out of clearing clutter and taking care of shit. And it is my happy place.
My happiest.
Like,
if I could have no piece of paper in my life,
God.
I'd be so happy.
Can I tell you, like, a good weekend for me, or like if I have some time off and Josh's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to clean my closet. I want to get rid of that junk drawer. I talk about hot zones in the house. And I'm like, that cabinet's definitely got some old shit that I want to see open space. And I'm like, is this just you? Are we just weird? Or is there something? I'm curious if there's something that's happening now. So so here we are recording.
I love that you say that. Even I was just thinking as you say it, I'm like, that closet in the office.
Yes.
I'm actually like starting to sweat. Like I got to get to that this weekend.
I was just going to say, you know what I thought we could do too? You and I can hang out. You can come over to my house. I'll come over to your house. We'll
check each other out and make sure.
Well, it's just fun to purge with a friend.
I love doing that. That would be amazing.
And I think that there is something symbolic about shedding. So in 2025, apparently this is the year of the wood snake, and it's all about shedding.
I'm there for it.
I've
been here for it for like decades, but yes.
And I love that you also talk with just iconic Norma Kamali about like, do you want to tell that story that she told? Because I think there is something in this stage of life. Again, you could be in your 30s, in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s and beyond. And you might be in a space of like, I'm so done with the old me and done with this clutter and this clothes and these artifacts that I'm just ready to release.
Yeah, it feels so good. It's so funny as you're saying all this stuff. I'm like, there's more stuff I got to get to.
Yes,
today.
Yes,
I'm literally coming over, and you're coming to my place. I interviewed Norma, and she's just an icon, an amazing New Yorker first, fashion icon second. Like I can't imagine the life that she's lived. And she's also Lebanese, so I'm like, oh
yes.
So I really had a great conversation with her, but what she told me, it just stuck with me. So she had, when she was young, growing up in New York City, she'd like go by these big expensive places, and she was like, one day I'm going to live there and have this big apartment, a great fancy apartment. And so she finally got to that place and bought it and bought all this stuff and stuff everywhere. And she said she got into it and she was like, I can't be creative. I can't think. I can't. She went on a trip. She went to India.
It was like her 50th birthday.
It was her 50th birthday.
Yeah.
Which I think has a lot. I think it has a lot to do with that. I think that shedding part. And she came back, sold the apartment, sold every single thing in it, moved to another place that was like completely clear. It only has stuff in that apartment that she uses. So she has a table because she uses the table. She has a jar because she uses uses it for flowers, whatever it is. She said it totally changed everything. And I think when I heard that story, I couldn't forget that story. Like it was years ago when I interviewed her for it. And I was like, oh, wow, I wonder if I'm going to get to that next level of clarity, clearing and all that. And I did. And it has been amazing, like amazing. I can't keep stuff.
No, me neither. No, I'm allergic to it.
No,
and
I am
think
too.
One of the
makes my head, I can't think.
No, same.
Yep.
And I feel like one of the other kind of beautiful gifts of this time, we talked about some of the hard things, and there are many hard things. We didn't even like peel the surface. I talk about it like a tiramisu of stress, like the tiramisu of stress stack that just keeps going. I'm like, this is not a cake that I want to eat.
That's so Italian. I love it.
It's here. But on the beautiful side, on the awesome gift side, is the possibility of reinvention. And I think I want to talk about how, this is a big career shift for you. And I think that so many of us reach a point somewhere near midlife where you're like, old stuff, been there, done that. But the new stuff isn't ready yet.
Yep.
And so a phrase that I've been living by that I want to share is that the clearing has to come before the clarity.
Oh, so good.
This
So
notion
true.
of shedding, and it takes a lot of faith.
It does.
And you have to kind of be in the void, and you have to be willing to be in the blackness and the darkness and the emptiness before something new can be born.
Yeah.
But for type A folks, for high achievers, that lack of control, that lack of clarity, that lack of knowing or understanding, like this is my next move or this is my
Here's
next
where I'm
step.
going. Yep.
Oh my God, it can send you in a lot of bad places. But for me, the clearing has to come before the clarity has been such
great.
Isn't that fun?
It's great.
And then
it's because it's so true. I know exactly what you mean. I can visualize both sides of that.
Yes.
Yep. Visualize both sides of it.
So tell me, what was it like? Like, did you make a decision? Did you know in your body that you're like, I need to leave the network? Walk us through that.
I didn't make it like that, like so clear, which was hard for me. So this was happening, and I was on social media talking about it, and then that started like
talking
having
about menopause
about menopause, perimenopause. I got on TikTok. I read 34 symptoms, and all of a sudden, women were like, "Oh, me too," and I went, "Oh." And the reason, in full disclosure, I went on TikTok is because I had so many people at work that I knew on my Instagram. I'm like, I don't think I want them to know this part yet of me.
Yes.
But TikTok was new and unexplored. I'm like, see what happens.
Yes.
And so I didn't really know what was happening. We were in the, pandemic time, and I just kept, when this happened was 19. So 20, I go into the pandemic time, and I'm like, I'm still researching, looking, paying attention to what's going on with menopause, talking to as many doctors as I could. And I kept going into work, and the story of COVID was so important. And so I really realized, like, this is what journalism is about, like helping the community. Like, it got back to my real roots of it all. And as I kept going further into the space of midlife and women and menopause, I was like, I can't stop to thinking about it. I just can't. And so I did have to clear a lot. Like, I was, during that time, I got married again for a second time at 50 years old. And I had at that point gone into a new apartment, and it got shedded a lot of stuff. Like, I didn't have anything. We had like a couch. I was like, maybe I'm living my Norma Kamali years. It was just very clear. And it was just me and the computer and paying attention. And so I would go into work every day, but my focus was elsewhere. And so I had a conversation with them, and I said, listen, like I didn't know any other job, but I was a waitress, and I was a news anchor. Like, that's what I did. I was a server, news anchor, then now I don't know what. And so that was where I felt comfortable. And I went into them and I said, look, I am like really obsessed with women's health, and I really want to talk about it on television. So they were great. They let me do that. I had a 4:00 show that I was able to talk, but it wasn't enough. Like, I just couldn't stop. So when I finally made the decision, it was about a year before I left. They wanted me to sign another contract. And I said, I just have to be honest with you. Like, I don't know. And I was petrified. And I kept thinking, if I don't do it now, when am I doing that? Like, when am I, and how many women are suffering as I'm not doing what I think I want to do? So I finally made the decision, scariest decision ever. Like, it doesn't come without fear. It wasn't like, hey, ready to do this. Like, I was petrified till the day I signed off on the air, and walked out the door, and I was like, what the hell did I just do?
Right.
And then I woke up like months later, I get over and over, I'd be like, what the hell did I do? But I knew deep down in my heart, because we were on the journey of making the documentary, working on the book, having, speaking on panels, talking to women, interviewing doctors, that I was in the right place. And it just all really became clear. And I never looked back. And it's weird. It's weird to have it gets me very emotional. It's weird to have all those years of something and then be able to close the door in a great, kind way. There was no anger or anything, and then be able to move into the next place. So
what I don't want to gloss over, because I think it's really important, and correct me if I'm wrong, I heard you say that were months of you going, what the hell did I do?
Oh gosh, months.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to hang out there, because that's where I feel like sometimes, I know I've done this. At the beginning of my career, when I was trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do and how to do it, it was literally years of me just feeling so lost until stuff finally started to click and converge and come together. And then it was more years until things started to work. I'm kind of slow. So I want to make sure that we underscore that, because I think it can feel so unsettling and like you are completely unmoored when you're making an enormous life change. And there's, of course, a very normal and natural desire for to get figured out, like fast, but it often doesn't happen fast. So I want to make sure that we talk about that, because there's probably people listening right now, and whether it's leaving a relationship, changing a career, making a big move geographically to where they want to live, like there's some big transformation that someone listening is about to make. And I just wanted to reassure them that the mind will take over and say, what the did you just do?
100 times.
For a long time. And that's okay. But if that deeper part of you knows that you are being loyal to your soul, it will come together.
Yeah. You're absolute proof of that in so many ways, because you're living it. You have to sit in it. Like even listening to you ask me questions, because I always, I've asked questions for so long, like you're living your words. You don't have a piece of paper with 10 questions. You're in it, you're feeling it. And I think that that's where you feel that wholeness eventually. So, and it's what I've settled into now.
Yeah.
But it takes a long time to feel that. So I don't want anyone to ever think that it comes with this, oh, this is my second chapter. I'll just shut the door and it's all, fine. Like, did you decide, I've had people say, like, when did you decide to become a menopause expert or advocate? And I'm like, never.
Yes.
Like, I never, that wasn't what I decided to do. I just knew that I had to fight for women's health. I knew that I had to somehow allow women to know that, be a conduit. That's what I've always been, as a conduit, right? So I still think of it as like, it's journalism of here's what I know how to do. Here's what I know how to do. Find the information. I know how to process it and give it to you.
Yes.
But to think that you're going to wake up in the morning and be like, well, that 25-year career is in the, in the past. It doesn't work like that. But when that click happens and you really feel it in here, you have no question. You just feel grateful for what you did before and whatever you're bringing into this. And there's a real truth in that. If it feels good. And that's where the clarity is.
Yes.
That's the clarity.
I have another one of my mantras that I like to share, just in case. I like to be useful in the world. Clarity comes
pretty useful.
Thank you. Clarity comes from engagement, not thought.
Oh, yeah.
And so the amount of things that I have to try. I mean, I was doing this. I'm planning a very epic trip to Italy. That's like one of my happy places. I always feel like more of myself. Like when I go dip in the Tyrrhenian Sea, somehow my cells get realigned. Yep. I swear I see myself as more beautiful. Like I like what I see, and there's no makeup on. It's just whatever it is.
I believe it.
And it's just, I like myself in my own skin. So I'm planning this epic trip, and I literally have to I keep calling places and trying stuff on energetically before I'm like, this hotel or that hotel, or this island or that island. That's awesome. And I feel like it's in our careers and with bigger things, it's like call doctors, have conversations, test something out. Find little ways to engage and let your body tell you the truth if it's the right move. I bet when you started to you were like, I can't not do this. Like, I want to do this more. You were like a little lovely, magical, hungry hippo in terms of being an advocate. It's like more.
It was.
But that wasn't from your head. That was from your heart.
It was. I felt it in my body. I didn't feel nervous. That was the other thing that was really interesting.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah. Cause I, as much as I've been on news and on television, I was very nervous public speaking. I never anyone that knows me knows I've never liked public speaking. Like it's something about it, like right there. And I know you love it, right?
I actually don't. No, I just like hanging out and talking to people. I like being helpful.
Very anxious, but I get very anxious with it. I didn't know that.
I do too, by the way.
I do get very anxious. And so I did this event recently, and I walked out, and because it was helpful, I had no nerves, and I went, oh, I'm in that place. Like I didn't understand that oftentimes when I was somewhere else and I was feeling this off in my body, I was thinking like, oh, you're not overcoming your fears, Tamsin. Shame on you. Everyone else can. You just suck. And so I really understand like what this is supposed to be now and like what it's supposed to look like. And it's a nice place to get to. It takes a long time.
Yes.
I mean, I'm 54 years old. It takes a long time, but wow, I'm just grateful for a lot. And I always quote my 85-year-old dad who's like, live your someday today.
Yes.
And he says that to me all the time. And I didn't understand really. I was like, yeah, I will one day. But now I understand what that means.
Yes. Live your someday today.
Yeah.
My best friend, Chris, her dad, who had passed just a few years ago, is like, make your golden, or actually more accurately, Ken said, and I'm still paraphrasing, but the golden years are for shit. Which essentially is like, girls, live it now. Like,
now
do
is
it now,
it.
do it
Now
now,
is
do it
it.
now. Thank you, Ken. But it's really true. And I think that there is so much hope. And I love that you have that in the book too.
Thanks.
That there is like, hey, yeah, it's a shitstorm for some of us. Maybe not, there's some women, God bless, we love you. Any human who can sail through this, praise be. Praise be, praise be, praise be. We do not want more suffering. And for many of us, it's like, buckle up, buttercup.
Yeah.
Shit's going to get real for a little bit.
It is, and it does.
And it is, and it does. And it's okay. And I think one of the other things that I appreciate about this time, I feel like my humor's better. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the funny shit that comes into this brain and sometimes comes out of my mouth. I'm like, I'm entertaining myself. That's all that matters. I'm having a good time.
It doesn't matter if you're not laughing. I'm good.
I'm good. I'm having a great
myself.
time. This is awesome. Is there anything else that we want to leave people with? And then I want to tell you, one of my favorite parts of what you wrote, which is at the end.
Oh yeah. No, I think I did this because I really wanted women. I lost my mom when she was 51 years old. So I never had this roadmap beyond that. So when that day and when that time came for me, 50 wasn't it was 51. And I just had never seen beyond that. And I guess it was important to me because I never had her to talk about menopause. I didn't even understand she had gone through it surgically because of breast cancer. And I just felt like if there's another girl out there that either has a mom that hasn't talked to her about it or doesn't have one, that's who I kept in mind at the top of my computer screen every time I was writing the book. And so that was the reason for it. And the reason I added so many things to it is I don't think this ends in the doctor's office. I think this is all around our lives. It's bedroom, it's boardroom, it's wherever you are, that's what this touches this time.
And you have so many great resources in here, which is really cool.
Thanks.
I kind of want to go check out that newsletter. I think, what is it? How to Not F Up Your Face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I haven't read that one. I was like, that sounds like a fun Substack.
I know.
Have you read it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
of course.
good. We're going to talk about that.
Yes.
So I think also one of my favorite chapters is the end, Silver Linings. That chapter is so beautiful. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks.
And you write, never forget that the truthful answer to, will I ever feel like myself again, is not exactly. You will feel good again, but you'll feel like your new self.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this gift. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm so excited that we get to declutter together.
Me too. I am so ready.
I've been hungry for a friend who will get into I want to KonMari the shit out of
pull it all out.
Everything.
All of it. And I just clean it and then place it back.
And then roll in the empty space.
I do my spice drawer.
Oh,
I have a spice drawer I pull out now, and it's all aligned. It's labeled. I have a label maker. I have 2 label makers.
We're in heaven. Okay, BFFs.
I'm really happy.
Thanks for this, love.
Thank you.
Hey, if you loved this video, you need to watch this one next. Trust me on that.